This is Greg Troutwine with Maritime Reporter TV. We're here at the Norshipping 2019 in Oslo, and we're very pleased to be joined by Hans Ottosen, CEO of Danelec. And Hans, first and foremost, thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Hans, I'm sure that many of our viewers know the Danelec name,
Right.
but for those who perhaps don't, could you give an overview of the company today?
Sure. So we're a maritime data technology company. We're based in Denmark, which has a great tradition for maritime technology. Our primary products are voice data recorders, also known as the black box, ECDIS, and then we have a dedicated ship-to-shore data collection solution.
Okay. We understand also that you're introducing a new solution to the market,
Right.
BOQA.
Yeah.
Could you please give an explanation of exactly what that product is?
Sure. BOQA, I think, is relatively new to the maritime industry. It stands for Bridge Operational Quality Assurance, also abbreviated as BOQA. The origins actually come from the aviation industry, and for many, many years they have applied a method called flight aviation quality assurance, so FOQA.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the idea is if you actually go into an airplane and when you land, they also have a black box, just like we have a VDR that also exists on airplanes. And what they do is after a trip, everything is fine. They actually take the data and then they analyze it and say what went well and what could have been done a little bit differently. Mm-hmm. Basically, how can we improve? Mm-hmm. Like you see in many, many other places. Everywhere you want to improve, you apply that kind of method. Sports, for instance, yeah? You analyze how you played, your results, etc. Basically the same approach. Now that has not really been let's say a tradition in the maritime industry, mm-hmm. because in order to do so, you need data. Mm-hmm. And data has not been easily available, mm-hmm. because it's always on the ship. Now we developed a solution where you can easily take data from the vessel, mm-hmm. Compress it and send it to shore for analytics.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's the Danelec Connect, which we introduced a number of years ago. Now this specifically, we said, okay, how can we apply that data in a way where we can improve safety at sea? And BOQA was one of them. So we get the data to shore, and then the data is analyzed, and you see, is there any way, or to what extent are you out of the limits which you have defined as safe navigation. So that could, for instance, be you're too close to another vessel, the depth on the keel is too low for a certain period of time, etc., etc. Now, nothing happens, but it's considered a near miss. And for each accident, you have about 20 near misses. And the problem is that traditionally, you have not learned from those near misses, mm-hmm. because you don't know about them, so you can't discuss them, you cannot learn from them. So the idea here is that you become aware of them, and then you learn from them. Mm-hmm. And that way, you will dramatically increase safety at sea by a factor 20. That's basically the idea. So it's a cloud-based software where you get all the what we call events. Mm-hmm. So if you have any deviation, it's considered an event. And then you basically have a long history and an overview of a particular vessel, particular time, even a particular seafarer, of how they're sailing. And that means when you go into training, you can really customize that training in order to improve the skills of each individual seafarer. That's the idea.
Okay, I mean it's a fascinating topic. We could literally probably talk the rest of the day on data, the proliferation of data, and more importantly, maritime's use of data. Yeah. But just from where you sit, obviously data is a very hot topic these days. The ability to get it, as you say, has just really started to come of age here in maritime. But when you're talking to ship owners, where are we on the spectrum of ship owners embracing these solutions?
It's an interesting question, because if you go a few years back, I would say they were, I wouldn't say reluctant, but they were unsure how to use data. Mm-hmm. They say it's great we can have data, but how should we actually use it? And I think the problem there were two problems. One is to get data. Now we have solved that. The other one is how to use data. Mm-hmm. And the number of, I would say, user-friendly applications, mm-hmm. they were limited. But that is changing now. And this particular application, for instance, the BOQA, is that I presented it recently in a large conference with a lot of seafarers. Mm-hmm. And I would say they were actually, it's the first time where I felt that there's such a strong interest, because this is a tool which is ready to apply, ready to use. Okay. And they understand it. It basically goes down on their day-to-day problem, highlights it, and supports them in it.
Okay.
Yeah. In a user-friendly way.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, that is new compared to.
Very importantly as well.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, obviously you can't have a data conversation without having a cybersecurity conversation. So when I'm sure it's central to your business, because if you're not cyber secure, there's going to be some problems. Can you discuss some of the measures that you take to ensure that the data is secure?
Sure. We have an ongoing program, because I think cybersecurity is something you'll never finish. You find that I wouldn't say every day, but new threats are coming, etc. So we work on it on a constant basis. We have designed our products around cybersecurity. We have delivered to very, very large ship owners, and I would say other very large partners. So we are vetted in that sense, and do audits in terms of whether we are secure. So what we do specifically is that when we build a product around cybersecurity, we have a number of principles we follow. For instance, we have what we called a trusted platform module. So that allows us to, for instance, to say any file that goes in our system has to be digitally signed by us. So you cannot upload a file unless it's digitally signed by us, as an example. We also prevent, a typical example is people come with a USB stick, they put it in, there's a file which auto-execute and you have virus, etc. In our system, that is not possible. We cannot auto-execute any file. So it's simply not possible to get a virus on it, unless we put it in, and obviously we don't. So to put in a file or any kind of information, we need to digitally sign it. Okay. Yeah. So that's some of we have a white paper on it, which is available on our website, which describes the whole principle. So it's a very long topic.
Or available from your PR contact, I'm sure.
Yeah, sure.
So finally, Hans, can you give us just a size and scope to the number of vessels you're on, and is there a particular type of vessel where your solutions can be found today?
Right. I mean, generally we have been in the market for many years, and we have made installations on more than 6,000 vessels in total. For the BOQA application, that is relatively new, so we are far from that number, and it's very new. It's only been available for a few months, so that is very early days.
Yeah, understood. Well, Hans, it's a busy time. I very much thank you for your time.
Thank you so much.
All right. This is Greg Troutwine with Maritime Reporter TV.